What's up, guys? Bill from HoloModels RC. I've got the next project I've been working on here in front of me. I've got V1 and V2. V3 is currently printing at the house. I've put several different motors in version 1. They're both printed differently. One's stronger and heavier, one's lighter. In this video, I'm going to do some testing with different size batteries, different size motors. I'm going to push the motors to their limits, see what the limit of the airframe and the ASA motor mount is, and see where they fly best. Or you might maybe watch these videos and see how you may want to print and build yours. Now version 2, I did put a different size motor in it. It's got a little bit smaller of a motor, 2830 instead of a 2836. So version 2, that one I'm going to have much longer flight time, and I do have flaperons on version 2. It is 5 channels, so stay tuned for that video. However, this one I'm going to fly version 1 and put bigger batteries in it, like I said. I've been playing with the CG, moving it forward and aft. I did put the CG marks on version 2 into the STL, so if you download it, you'll know exactly where the CG is supposed to be, and that CG was tested. So, all right, I'm gonna give it a go. Also on version 2, I did a lot of things, and I did put hand grips on the bottom of version 2 to help also, because I had to widen the fuse for the 7-inch prop, and this thing, it got so mangled up from me trying to stretch my hand on it, so I just put hand grips right there in that area. In version 2, I also put something like a fin there so that the prop can only sit in a certain spot, because I had glued this motor in incorrectly, if you remember, or if you've seen the other video, and I had to put another motor mount in and move the motor back because it was starved for air. So I made that one, made version 2, so that doesn't happen. As you can see, I've got the fins right there. So I'll talk to you more about version 2 in the other video. It doesn't have a high roll rate, version 1. That was one of the reasons why I wanted the flaperons on there. So I'm really curious to see how that turns out. I haven't flown version 2 yet, but I don't think there's going to be an issue with it. Like I said, I'm almost ready to share the model files. It'd be another day or two, but by the time this video airs, ooh, something happened to my motor there. I don't know what that was about. I probably should have recalibrated the ESC, because I had just disconnected everything and totally redid this airframe. And I probably burned it out. I don't smell any smoke yet. That doesn't mean anything. And I'm sure the motor's hot. Yeah, of course the motor's hot. So for now, I'm just going to unplug it and check it out later. Alright, so it's a new day today. I took this airframe home last night and I replaced the motor. And what happened was when I took the ESC and the motor out of this airframe to use it on something else for Flight Fest, when I installed it back in, I pulled one of the wires out of the back of the motor. So one of the wires were loose. I don't know if I'll be able to fix that motor or not. But at any rate, I swapped the motor out. I do have the same kind of motor in there. So I'm going to get back to testing and try to put bigger batteries in this thing. So here we go. That tape looks funny on the nose. Oh well, whatever works. That's about 65–75% throttle right there. One of the things I'm very proud out with my models, very proud about, is a lot of designers, when you see them fly, take notice, they're kind of just flat out the whole time that they fly. I like my models a little bit lighter, and I'm pretty proud of the fact that you don't have to run it at full throttle the whole time. That's why you'll notice in a lot of my videos, I've actually got a lot of passes where I'm going by real slow, to show that the airframe is capable of slower flight. You know, it's a bad thing when you go to download a model and the designer doesn't even include the weight or the size of it. I bet he's bitching at me that I got 30 seconds. Now V2 of this thing, unfortunately, with that smaller motor in it, it doesn't fly like that, and I knew that was going to be the case. You know, I'll probably wind up putting a different motor in that one. So I'm going to let this guy cool off a little bit. Land in the grass over there. I'm going to let it cool off, and then I'm going to put a bigger battery in it and see how it performs. I'm sure it'll fly, but we'll see. So the next battery size that I have is a 3300 4S. I'm going to put that in my version 1 of my 3D printed F-22, because I'm going to wind up breaking this guy down anyway. So let's give this guy a go. I did put the battery further back so it's not like nose heavy. I can tell it's a little heavier. It flies just fine though. It may not be able to go vertical. We'll see how well it does. I think it was gonna eventually stall out there. With just L-bonds, it's hard to keep it going perfectly straight up. But at least with this big battery, you probably get about 6-minute flight time. And you could get a longer flight time than that if you don't fly flat out. But most of the time I fly this airframe, you know, I'm like a 90% throttle most of the time, just ripping it. There's one way to heat your motor up. Just don't ever let go of the gas. A lot of the time I forget I even have a rudder on this airframe. I'm so used to just flying with L-bonds. It's nice to have that rudder though. So it's been at 100%. It's the first time I let go of the throttle. I'm sure you guys have different setups that you'd like to fly with this. Just keep in mind that it does fly a lot better with a 7-inch prop. Oh, flame out. It was inevitable. That's what happens on a hot day. You just cook the motor like that. And I know better than that. I did that deliberately. It's kind of like them guys with the flying wings. You know, you have a flying wing that does 120 miles an hour. And they only get like 2 or 3 passes at full throttle like that. Otherwise, they risk burning the motor out. You know, and that's exactly what happened. But it's all good. I got another one. I just don't have it on me is all. So I was finally able to get a response from the ASA. After running this thing flat out at 100% throttle, probably for almost 2 minutes straight, the ASA finally melted. And that's the first ASA motor mount that I have personally ever had melt. But it's a very hot day today, and I really pushed this thing past its limit, obviously. I'm not sure if the ASA was smoking or if the motor burned out. I'm pretty sure I actually burnt the motor out. And I do know better than that. I just didn't really care. I just was trying to push this thing. So I've already been thinking about this, and I'm going to try different props. This is a 3-bladed 70-50 prop. I'm going to try, I've already got coming in the mail, a 2-bladed 7 by 4.5 prop. I'm going to try it with the same motor, a half a pitch lower, a 4.5 instead of a 5, and a 2-blade instead of a 3. So hopefully that might help some of the issues of the motor getting real hot. I don't think it's going to matter. Like I said, it's like them guys with the flying wings. They only get a couple passes at high speed, and you have to bring the throttle down, otherwise something like this is going to happen. So it's all good. I'm glad it happened to me and not you guys. Now you know better. You know, if you run this setup, you know, you have to be careful what prop yet you put on there, or you know, what motor. And I'm sure you guys all have different combinations or what you like to use on your pushers or mid-mounted pushers. So and if you're curious, my battery had 50% left in it. So I am going to move on to my other one. Now when I share these files with you, so I have gotten just one flight out of V2, and I've gotten probably over 40 flights with this one now. So when I do share the files with you guys, this is printed with 1.5% infill across the board. All of it except for the elevons, the stab pieces, and the fins. I created that base mode structure to keep the ascent heavy of the airframe as light as possible. So 1.5% infill across the board. Now my V2, I printed 4% infill in both of the wings, 2 perimeters on the nose, and 2 perimeters on these booms here, because I wanted this airframe heavier and underpowered, because I know a lot of you guys, you'll use what you have available to you at home, or you like to print it with more infill or whatever. So I wanted to make sure that it's going to function like that. So that's what I was doing with version 2. So when I do upload the files, I'm going to recommend 1.5% infill across the board, with 2 perimeters on the nose, so that if you stand it up on the nose in your car or whatever, that it's not going to break. But it does fly a lot better. You can get vertical flight performance out of it with only the 1.5% infill across the board. So I'm back out of the field. I got both version 1 and version 2 of my 3D printed F-22. Yesterday I burnt the motor out of this one, and I said I was going to retire it. Well, I had a better idea. What I decided to do was I put a 2212 motor in it, which is only capable of running on 3S, a 40 amp ESC. And what I did is, instead of putting a third motor mount, because I've already got 2 motor mounts in this airplane from testing, I glued the motor mount right to the back of this wall here using plywood. So if you guys don't have ASA, or you don't like the fact that I'm using a printed mount with these motors that run hot, you can do exactly what I did. You use a piece of plywood, screw the motor mount to it, and then just glue that to this back wall. So if you look, I did have to melt the stab here, although on the new version I've already moved the prop slot back. So the motor is supposed to sit about flush with this back wall. And if you look where the prop is on this one, it's a little bit forward of the center, and that's because if you use a 2836, a little bit bigger motor than this one, the prop will sit almost perfectly centered right there in the prop slot. So don't mind that I melted it. I'm just gonna use this again to test again. This is my lighter printed F-22 with 1.5% infill. That's how I'm gonna make the G codes and the 3MF files. And then this is my heavier one that I printed with 4% infill. So I'm getting ready to fly this bad boy. It felt pretty good at the house when I was throttling it up and holding it vertical. It felt like it would go vertical. Although I won't have that initial burst of speed, I should still get a real good top end speed with this thing. So I'm pretty curious to see how it flies. I'm going to stick one of these 2200 3S batteries in it and give it a go. So this is flight 1 of my F-22 version 1, but this time I've got the 2212 3S motor in it. Got a 2200 3S battery in it. So let's see how this guy performs on 3S with that cheap Amazon 2212 motor. And it already feels kind of exactly what I expected. Like it have a good top end speed, but with that smaller motor and the 6-inch prop instead of the 7, you don't have that initial thrust of speed that I really like to fly with these models. But it flies great either way. And it did turn out lighter this way, obviously, because I'm only using a 3-cell battery instead of a 4. And this version is the one that I printed with 1.5% infill, not 4. The one that I painted orange is printed with 4%. I had burned out a bigger motor in this airframe yesterday. And I've already got 2 motor mounts in this guy. So I figured, you know what, I'll just stick that 2212 in it and see how it flies with a 6-inch prop. So in this setup, I've got a 6-inch 3-bladed 60/40 prop, and I'm not using an ASA motor mount. I screwed the prop into plywood, and I just glued it right to that back wall. Not sure what my flight time is going to be with this. This is the F-22 that's only 2 channels. I've only got L-bonds on this one. So I'm gonna bring it in. Yeah, so the motor and the ESC are pretty hot, and it's because of that size prop that I have on there. Maybe I'll try to stick a different prop on it real quick. I'll let it cool down and put a prop that's a little bit lower pitch on it. So this prop is a 6x45, like I said, 6 inches. And it's one of them cheap 2212 gold motors flying on 3S. So I just wanted to show you guys the capability, you know, that this will fly on different setups. I need to get some more props for myself. I do have a couple 7s coming in the mail. I don't have any more 6s coming. My problem is all my props are drilled out to fit a bigger shaft size. So when I put one of these props on there, they don't sit right and they come unbalanced. Although this one seems to be doing a lot better with the bigger ESC. Although it should have like a 6x4 prop on it. Now I might have a 2-bladed 6x4. I will try that if I have one. I'll have to look and see what the performance is. Now with a 2-bladed 6x4, I wouldn't have to worry about this thing overheating at all. You know, and it's glued to that plywood motor mount, so it's not a big deal if it does overheat. Oh, the PLA is not going to melt. You know, I just don't want to burn out a good ESC or a motor if I don't have to. But that's me ripping this thing too. You know, you don't have to fly this thing flat out all the time, although it is fun. But yeah, it definitely seems to be doing a lot better with that ESC, the bigger ESC. And that's just the really cheap 2212 motor and ESC combination for like $20, that black POS ESC. I had pretty good luck with them ESCs though. But they're hit or miss, just like anything else. Let's see, before my battery dies, how much vertical capability it has. It doesn't. And I expected that. I thought it might climb a little bit better. But at least with this setup, you will get a much longer flight time. It seems to be doing very well though. I've just got it at 100% throttle. So it's doing pretty good on this 2212 motor. It's running at 100%. Now to see how this motor and prop combination perform. My battery's probably close to dead. And I know this thing's got to be cooking hot because I've just been cruising around at 100%. So I'm going to get ready to bring it in. I'll let it cool down for a minute. Stick another battery in it. F-22 V1 with the 2212 motor, 6045 prop, 3S2200 battery. All it knows is 100% throttle. It doesn't know any better. Been trying to teach it, just won't listen. It's a lot of fun though, cruising around. Almost put it in. I meant to do that. Redemption. This thing was supposed to be retired yesterday, so if it crashes, it crashes. Or rather, if I crash it. A lot of fun to fly. let up off the gas a little bit. This thing's really flying nice with the 2212 motor on 3S, 6045 prop, 50 amp ESC. Thanks for watching, guys. I do appreciate it. If you like the video, please hit like and or subscribe to my channel, and keep your eye out. In the next week or so, I should have my version 2. Well, it'll just be my F-22 mid-mounted pusher available for download on colts3d.com. So thanks a lot, guys, and I'll talk to you next time. This thing is hard to fly. It's so tiny and too heavy. Painting this green was definitely a bad idea. Oh, I lost orientation. I couldn't tell which way I was going. Oh, nice. I hit the power line that time. What? It still works. It's still good. It's just too heavy. Like, well, actually the real problem is it's dark, and this is a little tiny airplane painted green. I can't see it.